Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox, and we've got a wonderful story here. It's one of those where that really writes itself. It really does. And it's just a lovely bit of, I suppose, karma, irony, all rolled into one. People who watched TV will have seen Susan Aitken, hold two seats, trying to defend the SNP's handling of everything in Glasgow. And the reporter kept questioning her about all the big rat problem and that. Well, you know, we got the teams going out, we're doing this, we're putting the big... It's the biggest rodent eradication scheme ever going, right? Blah, 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 blah. And she is just generally trying to waffle her way through it. Nobody's believing a word because it's all utter BS coming out of the mouths of the woman. That's between her shoving a Greggs sausage roll down it, you know. But the irony is this. They've had to close the Glasgow City Council chambers because they've got overrun with vermin. Mice and rats everywhere. So this problem that she was trying to lay off and say isn't really a problem, isn't that? Oh, no, we're dealing with it. Oh, blah, 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 blah. And all this load of old horse shit. They've now had to close the chambers because of the problem of rats and mice. Isn't it an absolute joy? Let's have a look. Glasgow City Council faces a vermin emergency as staff cafe reduces service over mice fears. And not to forget, of course, all the big fat sleek rats sitting in the council chamber voting themselves big pay rises. Scotland's largest local authority has been taken to task over dirty streets, and a vermin problem has now reached its own door. And you can guarantee now that these buggers will do something about the rat problem in Glasgow now that they themselves are overwhelmed with it. But of course, if you're not picking and clearing rubbish away, if you're leaving litter on the streets, this is exactly what happens. Vermin love humans because humans are incredibly dirty. A council accused of a vermin emergency has stopped serving food in their own canteen over a mouse problem. I'll have to get Rabbi Burns in, see what he can do. The City Chambers in Glasgow is only offering pre-packed grub at its cafe after mice were spotted in the iconic Victorian building. Do you know, if you go to Downing Street, there are only 3 official residents of Downing Street. The Prime Minister, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and the Chief Mouser to the Treasury. And that's the cat. The other 2 live there. No one else lives there. They work there. Many people work there. But the Prime Minister and the Chancellor live there. And the only other person or the only other resident, shall we say, is the cat. And the cat gets a salary. Not bad work if you can get it. But the cat's job is to catch mice. Maybe they should do that. Put cats all around Glasgow. Have lots of cats catching the rats. And then, of course, you're going to end up with a cat problem. So, you know, these things have a way of dealing with themselves, though, don't they? Anyway, a council accused of a vermin emergency has stopped serving food in their own food over this mouse problem. So, Aitken's SNP administration has been under intense pressure over the state of the city centre. She's been criticised over littering, graffiti, overflowing bins and the presence of rats on the streets. And with underfunding blame. She's saying it's a funding problem. Well then why did you freeze the council tax? Surely you should have put it up to help deal with the problems. But oh no. Bend the knee, kiss the ring. You think if you do that often enough, Humza will give you one. He seems to be giving a lot of them about. Seems to be a lot of people around him that are getting it. But just not you, eh, Susan? Maybe he's got taste. Maybe he doesn't like having to clamber over someone with a bunch of Sherpas and a week's supplies and then dig his way in. She's been anyway. It's now become a direct problem for her colleagues on the council in one of their favourite eateries, Greggs. I don't know, any old trough would do her, wouldn't it? The Your Cafe, is it named after Gudrun, who just turned 98, by the way? Which is also used by the public, is not providing its regular service due to pests being spotted around the chambers. I'm presuming, of course, they're talking about the mice and not the councillors. A council source blamed the age and size of the HQ and suggested building work in nearby streets may be a factor. The insider said, for the time being, they're only serving pre-packed food, which isn't prepared on the premises. John Slavin of the GMB trade union, which has campaigned against refuse cuts, said, every Glaswegian has seen for themselves how rats and mice have spread across the city in what is now a vermin emergency. They are everywhere, and the only people who did not apparently understand the grave risks to health and safety were our own councillors and council executives. Perhaps they will understand the scale of crisis now and take effective action. Now, anyone who falls ill from a rat needs to sue. I mean, after all, there are some very serious diseases. Vile's disease, the Black Death. I mean, seriously, the Black Death. Don't think Yersinia pestis, the bacteria, has been eradicated. It still hangs around. There's still... Fortunately, we have good medications now. It isn't the big problem that it used to be, but it still exists. 1976, the last person to die of the plague in this country. Not the last person to get it, last person to die of it. And I think 1978 was the last smallpox. But anyway, people still get it. It's still around in the world, you know. The plague, the Black Death is still there. And it travels in rats. And if you have a rat problem, it can come back. Anyway, cuts have consequences, he said. And whether it is our communities where our members in an understaffed and under-resourced service are struggling to keep the streets clean and safe, or whether it is in the council chambers. Visitors to one of Glasgow's most iconic buildings deserve a cafe free of vermin. But the people of Glasgow also deserve properly funded public services capable of protecting our city and its communities. You need to get all the rats out of the seats in which they were elected. That's the only way this will be cured. He said, while the SNP... this is change of person. This is George Redwood, Labour's leader on the council, said, once again, we witness the consequences of the SNP's incompetence as vermin finds its way into the heart of Glasgow's city chambers. While the SNP may have turned their backs on Glasgow, he's just politicking. Glasgow Labour won't, blah, blah, blah. It is an old building, I grant you, Victorian building, but that doesn't mean that you can't set traps, put cats, and basically flush the wee buggers out. And then once you've got it out in the open, unelect them. Coming up. They don't like it up them, do they? They don't like it when what they expect other people to tolerate and put up with happens to them. Oh no, now we've got a problem. Now we've got a problem. Now is when the problem is solved. When the problem is banging on their door. When the problem is scurrying around under their feet. Now they'll see that there's a problem. Up until then, it's just, are there any rats and mice? People will put up with it. No, people will not. Rats and mice carry disease. They are verminous. They are called vermin for a reason. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and keep Susan away from Greg's. Bye.